Hi, I'm Jill Miller. This is Indie Author Jill, where we spotlight books written by self-published authors and indie authors. Um, Today is actually Suicide Awareness Day. September 10th is Suicide Awareness Day. And I thought that this was a really good book for this day, for today. The It's a poetry collection called Things I Never Got to Tell You, and the front of the book says it contains poems of heartache, hope, and healing. It feels mostly like it deals with heartache. There's poems of one-sided love or falling for the wrong person, which I can relate to. Grief after death or after the loss of a loved one, whether it's to natural death or suicide. There's definitely one that hits hard on suicide. I think there's a couple that hit on suicide without actually. Some of them come out right and say it was suicide, and others not so much. But there's one poem of where he feels regretful that he was talking to someone and didn't hear what they were trying to say, didn't hear how much pain they were in, and felt like he missed that opportunity to tell them what they needed to hear and to help them maybe change their mind. And instead he just kind of tried to lighten the mood, and they gave him a ring to hang on to for safekeeping, and he didn't recognize at that point that what they were doing was giving him something that they wanted him to have after they were gone, and they wanted to make sure he got it. There's also poems on self-hate and body dysmorphia and eating disorders. What he went through himself of having an eating disorder, and there's a lot of people that I've talked to when we've gotten onto the subject of eating disorders, they're like, well, that's not that bad. Yeah, they're hurting themselves and everything, but that can be treated and everything. The problem is that if it's not caught in time and if it's not handled well, then it can eventually lead to not only self-harm, but suicide in and of itself. I really related to in response to my therapist saying I needed to communicate better, part 1, where he talks about the reason he doesn't communicate is because the person he needs to communicate with doesn't want to hear the things he feels like he needs to say, how he really feels about himself, how much he hates himself, and the person he wants to tell that to doesn't necessarily want to hear that, and he hates that every time that he feels that way, and he wants to say that anytime he does, it hurts the person that he's wanting to say it to. There was one line that hit really hard where he says, I wish I could love me the way you do. And it hit because there are times where it's really hard to love yourself, and you see the people that are around you and they talk a big game about you. They're like, oh yeah, you're great and you're wonderful, and you're like, who are you talking about? Because I've never met this person that you say I am. You know, and I have that a lot of, I've had to lead exercises, and one of my favorite exercises to do to help especially teenage girls and teenage boys with their own self-reflection is I like to give them this exercise where they write their name at the top of the paper, and then they just think of someone that they admire. It can be the person they admire the most. It can be just someone that they think of that they admire. And they write that everything that they admire about that person down. And the payoff for this exercise is that everything like attracts like. And so you're attracted to people who are a reflection of you, and you usually go to the people that because you relate to them. You usually go to the people that you find the best of yourself in because you relate to them, because there is something about them that is very similar to you. And when you can say, I admire this person, what you're saying is, I recognize myself reflected back to me in this person. And when you say, I admire these things about these people, you're recognizing those things about yourself. And once you believe that, and you can, once you understand that, then it doesn't matter, like, if you're, what you admire about someone is their competence, but you don't feel like you're a very competent person, then you say, well, I admire this person because I admire their competence. What you're really saying is, I recognize that I have competence, I just don't know how to unlock it. And so once you realize, okay, these are the things I admire about this person, then you realize, okay, those are the things I have. Now I just got to figure out how to tap into that. How do I tap into that competence? How do I tap into that talent? How do I tap into that generosity, or whatever it is that you admire about that? And without fail, anytime I do this with a group of people, there's always one person, and they're never asked to say who they admire. I never ask them to tell us who it was they chose. It's always who wants to share their list, and they get up and they share their list, and usually they volunteer the information of who they chose. And occasionally there's always at least one person that, for whatever reason, the person they choose to talk about that they admire is me, and I don't get it, because they're seeing, a lot of times I feel like they're seeing in me something that I didn't see in myself. And as hard as it is to believe, it's very hard. We are our own worst critics, as the saying goes, and it's hard to believe the best about ourselves unless you're a narcissist. It's hard to believe the best about ourselves. It's hard to believe that we are what these other people are finding and seeing. There are certain things I know about myself that I'm aware of. I know I am a competent person. I know I am a capable person. But when people talk about one of the youth I worked with, her opinion of me was that I don't take crap from anyone, and I just, like, I feel like I take a lot of crap from a lot of people, honestly, because, and it's not so much that I take the crap, it's that there are certain things I don't get upset about. I have worked really hard to reduce stress in my life, so if somebody starts stressing me out, or like they're saying things against me, my first thought is, well, that's not true though. So if it's not true, then it doesn't bother me. And okay, well, you're welcome to have your opinion. Um, I avoid, especially in family, I avoid the topic of politics altogether, because I understand that I vote the way I vote for my reasons, and other people vote the way they vote for their reasons. And 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be swayed because they're so rooted in their belief systems of how things should work and how things should be. And so if they vote for somebody that I think is an absolute terrible and tyrannical choice, or if they vote for somebody that I think is so incredibly passive that they're just going to let the rest of the world roll right over them, I just step away from that conversation. And it's I know what conversations I can have with those people safely, and I know what to avoid, and I choose who I surround myself based on those conversations. When I get to talking to people that, they seem like a really nice person and a very loving and accepting person, and then they start just talking very hatefully and very close-mindedly about different people just because they don't live a life that they think is morally correct. And I just like, okay, that's an opinion. Probably won't have certain people that I care dearly for around you, because I value them and their life and their mental well-being and their and I don't want them to feel like I would ever put them in danger. I want the people who I care the most about to feel safe with me and to feel like they can trust me. And we are so honestly, I should have done the other poetry book, because there's another poetry book I just did earlier this year, The Fragile Humans We Are, and we are fragile because we care and we love so deeply, but we hurt just as deeply, whether it's ourselves or others. And these poems are so raw and so relatable to the inner workings of a person's mind of, I could have done better, I should have done better, I want to be better, and just constantly beating yourself up that you're not doing as good as you should have done, or you're not doing as well as you could have. But there are some others that are very, where the hope comes in. There's ones about where someone has passed on, and there's a poem where he talks about, our love doesn't end just because your life ended. Our love goes on beyond the grave. And there's the hope of a reunion in the afterlife. I personally preferred the shorter poems to the longer ones, because some of them were like 3 pages long, and like he really gets into the weeds of how the feelings and everything. But my niece, she read them and she preferred the longer ones to the shorter ones. She really liked being able to get into those feelings, and she's been struggling herself. She's in therapy, and she has given me permission to talk about this, but she's been in therapy for the different things that she's going through, the self-harm and everything. And she loved how she felt seen with these poems, that she wasn't alone, and it made her feel like she had the wherewithal, the strength to carry on and get through it and work through it. Both of us, our favorite poem, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure where the heartache, the hope, or the healing came with one, but there's a haiku in here called Ode to the Throne, a haiku. That was our favorite. It made us laugh so hard. In a haiku, it's just three lines. But basically, it's the Ode to the Throne. Is the throne, of course, in this instance, was a toilet. Apparently, he had gotten either food poisoning or he's lactose intolerant. But he ate some chicken Alfredo, and it caused him to spend some quality time with the toilet. That one made us laugh. We enjoyed that one. I think that was one that we both said was our favorite. My niece's mother was very much like, she's like, you guys are weird that was your favorite. I would say if you're going to give this to somebody, give it to a teenager. There are plenty of adult words in throughout these poems, but I think they are well placed. But this is definitely a good this is a good book, especially for teenagers and young adults who are struggling and who are very prone to self-harm. I do love the words that he put on the back here that says, because the day I came alive was the day I chose to love myself again. It seems so self-serving to say that you love yourself, and it seems egotistical and narcissistic, but it's so important that we love ourselves. Some people will say that until you love yourself, you're not going to be able to love anyone else. I would say that in some cases that when you love the right person, it becomes easier to love yourself, because when you love the right people, even if you don't love yourself at that time, those people help you fall in love with yourself, because they hold up the good mirrors to help you see the best in yourself. And a lot of times you're like, okay, the person you're reflecting back to me, that's the person I want to be. And those people who really love you and who really care about you and who really see you are the ones that can help you figure out how to be that person they believe you are already. I had written a poem once that said, that ended with, God help me be the person my dog thinks I am. And it's a sentiment I had seen on a magnet somewhere, and I just really like the sentiment that your dog loves you unconditionally and thinks you are the best thing in the world. And all you ever want is to be that person and be worthy of that unconditional love and loyalty. I would say, if I could say anything to my viewers, I would say that you are loved, you are seen, and you are worthy. And if you feel like you're not, if you're around people who make you feel like you're not, then get different people. Honestly, it's so easy to get stuck in toxic relationships where you feel like I have to put up with these people, because if I don't, then I will be alone. And these are the only ones that are willing to tolerate me. But when you step into who you really are and you set your vibe, you find your tribe. And you will start attracting the people that honestly care and love you. And so that's what I would leave with you, is to if you're ever feeling like you're not worthy and you're not enough and you're not good enough, find the people that tell you that you are. And if you can't find the people that you are, by all means, find someone you can talk to. Get into therapy. There's so many different ways you can get into therapy. It's not a stigma. It is not a bad thing. I myself went through therapy, and I'm a better person for it because it's helped me to embrace who I am and to harness my better parts and to love who I am. So definitely talk to somebody, even if it's not a therapist. Talk to someone that you trust, an adult, or adult if you're an adult yourself, a grandparent, an uncle, aunt, a priest, a counselor. Because I know some of my viewers are not religious, and that's perfectly fine. If you're not religious, you can still find a mentor of sorts. I feel like everybody has a work mom or a work dad. You can always talk to your work mom or your work dad. And if you can't, then get a new work mom and work dad, because that you really need your own village. So reach out to the people that you love. Make sure everybody's okay. I don't want to say Happy Suicide Awareness Day because that sounds so weird, but reach out to the people. Definitely take time today to reach out to the people that you love and care about. Make sure they're all right. Let them know that you love them and that you see them, and just spend some time talking to them. You never know how much that might mean to them. Until next time, that's all I've got for you guys. Have a good day and be well.